There's something about having your own freedom when you're working a sprinter/cargo van, and I'm going to talk about that on this segment of the Gig Geezer. If this is your first time checking out the Gig Geezer, if you're a returning visitor of the Gig Geezer, hey, thanks for coming by, and if you would not mind, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. I happen to look to my right because I am en route to, you would not believe this, a bungee order here in the Columbia, South Carolina metropolitan area. Shocked the hell out of me because I thought that I'd been deactivated from Bungee. Well, apparently my account was placed on suspension or in the penalty box, and while I was completing an order that I'll share with you in a few moments, I got a text message from Bungee support asking me if I were interested in being a partner in a local Bungee order that's going to pay $61 and change. It's from the Floor and Decor place that is on the northwest side of the Columbia, South Carolina metropolitan area, and it's going out to actually my side of this Columbia metropolitan area on the northeast end, which would actually be a nice ending to my first half of the grind today, in which should I complete it and do everything as stipulated in the order, I will be at $350+ for the day. Now, how did I get there so far? I completed a DoorDash shop and pay for $25.50, and that's going to bring up another thing that I want to talk about real quickly in this segment of the Gig Geezer. Then I completed three roadie orders that totaled $81 and change. So that puts me at $106. And then after that, I completed a freight order that started out that was for an offer of $80.05. But once, and I got to give credit to Steve, whom I've mentioned a number of times. He's a fellow cargo/sprinter van owner operator here in the Columbia, South Carolina metropolitan area. After talking to him, it's like, oh shit, you know what? I need to check into this a little further. He mentioned about it being mid-size. It said mid-size, but when you look further into the specs for the order, it said this needs to be for a box truck, or in my case, it actually fitted in my sprinter/cargo van. So I got in contact with frayt, and so there was an adjustment that brought it up to $112. And then frayt said, if you've got to unload the contents, let us know, and then we'll adjust from there. Well, the contents were 30 70-pound slabs of sheetrock that were going for a home renovation project. And so, yes, I did have to help unload those sheetrock slabs. And so they adjusted another, rounded up $75. And so that entire gig paid $187.27. So that's why I'm at $293 en route to the Bungee order that will put me at over $350 for today. And then I have the option of, do I want to go back out and try to make another $50? So you can say that I will be taking possession at midfield and see if I can go for the touchdown, getting over $400 today. Now, I mentioned about DoorDash. The reason why I want to talk about DoorDash real quickly in this segment of the Gig Geezer is that I guess I've now been credited with the anti catchphrase of accept less, earn more. Since DoorDash had talk of accept more, earn more, which is bullshit, I started with, in fact, you can check out these segments of the Gig Geezer in which I came out with that, accept less, earn more. In fact, Bobby, who's a Southern Gator, Bobby often makes attribution to me for coming out with the accept less, earn more, as does Brian from DoorDash Sucks. He's given attribution to me as well on that. But I want to show you yet another example why accept less, earn more still works. Now, that DoorDash order was the only one that accepted today. It was a shop and pay for $25.50. if I go back over the month of May, and if I were to go back even farther, but suffice it to say, for the argument within the month of May, I averaged over, or just you can say, you might as well just say, I averaged right at about $21 per completed order on the DoorDash app. I challenge someone who maintains a very high percentage rate. Those of you who have attained top dasher status, maintaining that 70% or more acceptance rate, I challenge you. I dare you to come to me and say that you're averaging $21 or better per completed order on the app. I dare you to come to me. And if you do, you're more than welcome to share your comments in the section below. And by the way, if you like the content that's been provided in this segment of Gig Geezer or in any other segment of the Gig Geezer, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. Now, a few weeks back, I commented on another content creator's upload, and I kind of mentioned the same thing, in which I had averaged at that time like $18 per completed order. And someone, thinking that I was just being an asshole, said, well, you need to show proof of what I need to see proof and what market you in and all that. So I replied with a link saying that, hey, just check out my channel. The documentation is there, but I'm pretty sure that you still wouldn't believe it anyway. Well, I never heard anything from that person. And then also with this particular segment of the Gig Geezer, I realized that yes, I made someone highly indignant with my comparing accept less, earn more to someone who has shown other people how they've maintained a higher acceptance rate, and that caused someone to take some shots at me. But that was never my intent. I want to show you, at least during the month of May, how accept less does earn more per order. Now, for the entire month of May, and you can see here on the inset, I earned $419 and change through DoorDash for the entire month of May. I completed 20 orders the entire month. And if you do the simple math there, that's $20.97 per completed order. And that's basically $21 an order. And you'll notice through the weeks of the month, I completed 4 orders one week, earning $91 and change. 3 orders one week, earning $63 and change. 5 orders one week, earning $118 and change. 3 orders one week, earning $57 and change. And then 5 orders one week, earning $89 and change. Numbers don't lie. And even this week, I have completed, if memory serves me correct, 4 orders this week, and I've earned just south of $98. It's like $97, $98. So that's $24 per completed order this week. And so if you were to you would tack all that to the other numbers that I've already articulated, over the past several weeks, I have averaged $21 per completed order. Now, there are those who are going to say, Geezer, you must be on the large order program. Yes, I am. I have been on the large order program dating back to its previous incarnation as the Drive program since February 2020. I'm not going to apologize for being on the large order program, but there are some shop and pay orders, and then there are some single orders, and then there may be, if memory serves me correct, a stacked order or two that is also in that mix of orders that I have completed over the past several weeks on the DoorDash app. So you don't have to take my word for it. Just look at the numbers. Accept less does earn you more money. And by the way, working multiple apps and stacking multiple orders across multiple apps also still works. And that leads into this next thing that I want to talk about in this segment of Gig Geezer. Today being Friday, June 2nd, 2023, and DoorDash, the DoorDash shop and pay and the freight order were actually orders that I'd stacked together. And what happened was I had completed a roadie order for $16.08, and upon completing that order, I happened to catch the DoorDash shop and pay. But while I was in the parking lot of the shop and pay at BJ's, I happened to catch the freight order for $80.05. Now, I wasn't about to give up that $80.05 order, and I am glad today that I did not give it up. And I was able to complete the DoorDash order without incurring a contract violation, as you see here, and also complete the freight order. Now, freight says that I was 2 minutes late to the location and then 47 minutes late upon drop-off. It doesn't take into account the time that I spent having to unload the order. It doesn't take into account the traffic that I incurred going up there. But that's a one-rail issue, and I kind of ignore it. So, again, accept less, earn more. Working multiple apps, stacking multiple orders across multiple apps. It works. Now that leads into something else, and which is really the crux of this segment of the Gig Geezer. And again, by the way, if you like the content that's been provided in this segment of the Gig Geezer or in any other segment of the Gig Geezer, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. Now, I have produced some content in recent weeks about contracts as it relates to us independent contractors, but more specifically for sprinter/cargo van owners. And I say this again, I have no problem with contracts in terms of people trying to get contracts. It shows one's ability, it shows one's enterprising skills. It shows one's drive and determination and business sense to cultivate relationships to create multiple revenue opportunities, and in some cases, consistent revenue opportunities. Those are some of the positives about having a contract. But there are other parts of having a contract that a lot of people don't think about. They just come on YouTube talking about how they got a contract, and I'm working my contract. Okay. But as I've mentioned, there's the fact that contracts are really etched in stone. The people on the other side, they can end your contract at any time, really, because you are an independent contractor. There is no guarantee that they got to pay you, and in some cases, you gotta track them down to be paid, as I've shared in this segment of the Gig Geezer. And by the way, One Rail has reached out to me, and they have profusely apologized, and they have paid me for every invoice that I've submitted to them. But they have also reached out to me to confirm that I got the money, and they really would want to try to grow a business relationship with me. So we will see how things unfold. I am going to go about things rather cautiously, and this week I have dispatched 2 orders out to a driver, and then I dispatched one out to myself, but then I canceled it. So that's where I'm at with One Rail thus far this week. Actually, I dispatched one out to another driver today, but that driver was unable to accept the order. But there are other facets of the contract that you have to deal with. The other side, the other party, could put your contract up for review based on performance. Or if you're unable to cover when you're not able to fulfill your end of the bargain, or if you have a driver as a part of that contract and they're not able to complete the route for that day, you've got to cover. You've got to cover for that person or for yourself. And if that problem persists where the route isn't being covered, you may lose the contract in its entirety. So that brings me up to this part, this facet about contracts: autonomy, having your freedom. These are 2 things that are big time for me. And I've given the analogy. I've shared the experience of me being a sports reporter or newspaper reporter, in which I was in a newspaper business for 15 years. And I doubt very seriously if I could have lasted in the business for as long as I did if I had to work the desk. That's kind of the equivalent. Me being a beat writer, I was out and about. I was out and about. I was traveling. I didn't have to come into the newsroom. I had the experience of dealing with lots of people as far as story subjects. I know, like, one of the big stories right now is about the splitting up of Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless. Well, I never met Skip Bayless, and that, for that matter, I never met Shannon Sharpe. But I did a couple of stories on his brother Sterling Sharpe back in the 1990s when he was still playing with the Packers, and then after his neck injury, which forced him to retire. In fact, Sterling should be in the Hall of Fame, but his Hall of Fame career was cut short because of the neck injury. Well, anyway, I liked my autonomy. I liked the freedom that I had, being able to come in and out and not really having to answer up to people. The only thing that was really required of me was working my beat, producing stories throughout the week, and whenever there was a big story to break or a big story to follow, to be in on the action and beat the other papers. And I thrived on that for more than 10 years in the newspaper business. And I'll also throw in there, I was also nationally recognized. I was at one time one of the best newspaper sports writers in the country. But here's another example. I know that I'm talking, but I'm gonna give you another example of autonomy and freedom. I've mentioned also that I'm an insurance agent. I have my own agency. I am an independent insurance agent. I am not a captive agent. A captive agent is one who is bound to the company that you have basically been hired by. Although you may be working for an agency principal, you are obligated to sell the products that company sells. The companies that I'm thinking of right now is under the old Nationwide business model, Allstate and State Farm. There are other places, but these are like your more well-known places. Geico, that's another one, or Liberty Mutual, where you are a captive agent and you can only sell what they offer. And so you come in, you basically do a 9 to 5, and you're paid a salary plus commission. That really wasn't now I started out in the business in property and casualty as a captive agent. I worked briefly at State Farm, and then I worked for almost a year at Allstate before I went out on my own. And I know as an independent agent, I made way more than what I made as a captive agent. But I also had my freedom and autonomy. I didn't have to go in, be there when the office opened until the time that until closing time. So that was basically anywhere between 8 and 9 to be there, and then typically 5 to 6 o'clock in the evening, depending on if they're open late. As an independent contractor, you have that freedom to work when you want, whenever you want, and for how long you want. When you have a contract, it's quite the opposite. Case in point, there's a young lady who, in a recent upload of hers, she shared how she has a contract with delivering auto parts 5 days a week. She's paid $1,100 a week based on driving a mileage budget of 750 miles. If she goes over the 750 miles, which she has on a couple of occasions, they pay her 56 cents a mile. And she mentioned that she is trying to renegotiate that overage amount. But the thing is that working the contract, she feels as if she's nothing more than a W-2. The difference is that they don't take out any taxes. But yet she has to work basically a 9 to 5. And that's kind of a bummer with her. They give her a route to complete, and she has to complete the route exactly as given. Although she feels that she can cut half of the time on that route if they allow her the ability to improvise and work the route as she sees fit. If I'm given a route, I can do it any fucking way I feel. Case in point, really, even though I'm in a hybrid situation with Federal Express, I have a route. Whenever I do it, I have a route to do it. I have a route to do. I don't have to complete the route specifically as the manifest gives me. I have the latitude to complete this route any way as I see fit. And usually I bust out a route just as fast as someone who actually works the vans as an actual 5-day-a-week driver. So, and that's also despite the fact that my routes actually I actually cover more territory, but I'm completing the same number of routes, if not in the same amount of time, and sometimes even sooner than they do. Now, again, that's something that you need to think about when you have a contract situation. Do you have the freedom to work your job, to work your gig whenever you want, how long you want, or however way you want to? That is the definition too of an independent contractor, in that the people that you're contracted with cannot dictate to you exactly how it should be done. Now, I also want to pose this to you, just for whatever it's worth. I've not heard many people say this, but we all have contracts. Even if you don't have a contract in terms of a business relationship with an actual local business or corporation in which they have asked you, hey, can you do some stuff for us? We've got some people, but we need somebody who can do it on call basis. We all have contracts. How we all have contracts? All those apps that you may be working are your contracts. And the key word is, yes, you have contracts, because we all have to agree to that independent contractor agreement. I have shared probably more the times than I should. The reason why I have been reticent about contracts is because, quite honestly, I don't know if I am cut out to be blocked in or have my days defined by a contractor telling me when I should be available to these people, or when I should how my time should be spent, however many days a week. I like to have my autonomy and my freedom to do as I damn well please. And if I happen to see what amounted to be $180+ opportunity on an app, I want to be able to go and do that as I feel, and then maybe find something else to stack on top of that. I can't do that if I'm in a contracted situation. I've got to fulfill the terms of my contract in order to be paid or to maintain that contract, and that's what I'm getting at. The other thing is pay. The young lady says she's making $1,100 a week. I know that she's also doing some with spot market work as well, and she may be working on the apps, and so it is highly conceivable she is probably making more than $1,100 a week. I don't know that exact number. I don't know. I've never asked her. I've not seen any content that suggests what she is making. But I will also say though that based on my situation, with me averaging over $7,000 a month, that translates into over $1,700 a week. If I were in a contract situation that was paying me $1,700 a week, that would be a damn good contract situation. But then they would probably be expecting a hell of a lot more out of me for that type of pay. And so it would feel actually like a W-2 job. The difference only is that you are a 1099 and they're not taking out any fucking taxes. They're not paying you any benefits. So that's what you have to, that's really the bottom line. Or as Dina will say, there it is. So if you like to, hopefully I have shed some light, shared some information, shared a perspective that may be of some benefit and use to you, and help you make your best decision as you go about your experience being a sprinter/cargo van independent operator, owner operator, or for that matter, working these gig apps. Remember, each of these gig apps is a contract of yours. It's just that it's just not as the conventional term, the conventional definition as one may say. It's not conventional in terms of how it's being executed. Our argument is that DoorDash is trying to trying to nudge you into being a W-2, and that is true. DoorDash is saying that we are independent contractors, separate entities and all, but there are things that it's requiring of people that make you feel as if you are a W-2. But anyway, that's all I have to share for this segment of the Gig Geezer. If you like the content that's been provided in this segment or in any other segment, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome comments in the section below. I'm Inwood Lane, and as always, may your grind and may your hustle continue.